Hello, everyone. So today we're talking about the case of April Holt. So, if you've heard about this case recently, like I did, I personally heard it from Kendall Ray, and the name sounded familiar, and I realized it's because I had seen some of April's videos on TikTok when I used to be on there all the time. I'm not really a TikTok girly, but that is where I remember seeing her a lot, and she had a very big presence there. Well, unfortunately, her life was taken from her on July 29th, 2023. And her case would eventually be solved not because of police, but because of her amazing mother, who just never stopped believing that there was more to the story. And so I'm going to tell you about April's case today and what her mother, Jamie, did for her. So I highly recommend you go and you watch Kendall's video. It's absolutely amazing and well done. But all the links I used for research will be down below, like always, and let's go ahead and get into this. So 29-year-old April Holt embodied positivity, which was apparent in the video she created and posted to TikTok, which was viewed by more than 200,000 followers. April was married to a 33-year-old man named Donovan Holt. April owned a lash studio in Nashville, Tennessee, and she loved being a mom to her 12-year-old daughter, which was from a previous relationship, and a son who was 8, who she shared with Donovan. She was excited and looking forward to what the future had in store for her. April was also into her faith, which was Christianity, and she was supposed to meet her mom, Jamie Dickerson, at Believers Faith Fellowship. They planned to go see the Barbie movie, but April would tell her mom that Donovan had to work and so she couldn't go to the movie, but said that she would meet her mom at the church at the Blast classroom the next day. But Jamie wouldn't get a chance to reply to April. April and Donovan were in a rocky relationship and about to get a divorce. And Jamie got a call the next day. It was from Donovan, and Jamie said that he was upset, like he was panicking. And he said, quote, "We found April. She wasn't breathing, and she's in the ambulance on the way to the hospital," end quote. April was found with a plastic bag taped tightly around her neck. She died at the hospital. Her death was ruled a suicide, but Jamie knew that there was more to this than that, and even though that the DA closed the case, Jamie vowed to continue investigating. She would spend hours a day figuring out who killed April. 2 weeks prior to her death, April had filed for divorce. She had wanted to do it before, and she had threatened to file a divorce before, but she hadn't gone through with it. But this time, though, she had been serious. Jamie's 8-year-old grandson would also tell her that he had witnessed April and Donovan fighting the day she died. Jamie also learned that Donovan pawned his wedding ring the week before April died. Jamie says that at the hospital, after he had called her, that Donovan was acting strange. He allowed Jamie to make all the medical decisions on April's behalf, holding his head. He had been rocking back and forth. He was pacing. And she just thought that this was odd. Jamie would continue to comb through police reports and notes from the autopsy. They said that she did not have any signs of trauma, even though she had bruises, which Jamie actually had to bring to their attention. Even though the autopsy stated she had bruises on her neck, thighs, ankles, and a gash on her inner thigh, she had to bring this to police's attention. Like, my daughter has a gash on her inner thigh. There's bruises all over her body. What do you mean there's not trauma? That sounds like trauma to me. And it's ridiculous that they just completely bypassed that or did not care. And so Jamie continued to fight for her daughter. She met with the DA and anyone that she could possibly get to listen to her. But they kept telling her that they just didn't have enough evidence or they just didn't see the evidence that she was talking about. And so they just let Donovan be free. So Jamie continued to file complaints, and eventually this pushed the MNPD to launch an internal investigation, which would produce a 47-page report. In it, detectives said that there were 2 hits for Donovan Holt's fingerprints on the duct tape roll. Jamie decided she was going to confront Donovan. She just knew that he did it, or at least knew more than what he was saying, and she was going to get the truth one way or another. Jamie is absolutely fearless. And this is a quote from Jamie on her conversation with Donovan, and she says, I said, quote, I said, you can tell me the truth, or I am going to go meet with the cold case team next Thursday and have this reopened, end quote. And, she went there to get the truth. She wanted the truth from him. And Donovan would shock her by confessing in full. He tells Jamie how he killed her, and she said that he went into detail about how he did it. He strangled her, and then he didn't know what to do, so he dragged her to the shower and put the bag over her head and taped it to make it look like a suicide. On September 20th, 2024, MNPD announced that Donovan had been arrested in San Antonio, Texas, after he had confessed to police that he had killed April. So he confessed to Jamie, and he also confessed to the police, finally. Donovan was indicted by a grand jury for reckless homicide, evidence tampering, and false reporting. He is due to be returned to Nashville. As of now, it's unclear of what plea he will enter or if he's entered one at all yet. He was extradited back to Nashville, so he did go back, where he is being held on a $75,000 bond in Davidson County Jail. He was supposed to have a October 23rd arraignment, but I have not seen any articles since about September 29th on this case, so I'm unclear. So it's unclear to me if we have any updates at the time that I'm recording this, December 2nd. If he's had that arraignment or if it's been postponed. It's also unclear if he's had any attorney to speak for him yet, like if he's had any attorney appointed for him. And in a quote from Jamie, she says, I had to fight for her. Moms have superpowers, end quote. I think that Jamie is just absolutely incredible. She absolutely does have superpowers. I'm going to gush about her after I finish this last little bit, but I wanted to include that in here. In a GoFundMe, Jamie is raising money to start the Grieve With Me Center, in honor of April, to help those who have lost loved ones. And she said it's because when this was happening to her, she didn't have all the resources that she needed, and she wants to make sure that other people have those resources. Her aim is to create a place to just sit and be, enjoy coffee, a place of grief resource classes, youth grief groups, grieving through art classes, and future grief camps, which sounds amazing for people. So now I'm going to gush about Jamie. I think that she is an amazing woman. To just have this happen to you, something so horrifying. To know that your daughter was killed, that she was found with a plastic bag taped around her head, and everyone is telling you it's suicide. And you know in your heart of hearts your daughter would not do that, but no one is believing you. And so for over a year, you spend hours a day combing through evidence. You go through autopsy reports. Can you imagine how hard that has to be? Seeing the things listed about your daughter that in her final moments of what her body looked like, and combing through those reports. And just finding anything you can to say that this is not a suicide, anything at all that you could take to police to change their minds. Now she did that for over a year, and finally it pays off. She finally just confronts the man that she knows in her heart did this to her daughter, and she gets a confession. Can you imagine that? And then he confesses to police, and now he's going to be going to jail, hopefully. Well, he confessed to probably. But we don't know if he's going to be going to trial, but he's now behind bars for what he did to your daughter after over a year of you meticulously combing through anything you possibly can to get your daughter justice. You finally get this breakthrough. Can you imagine how that has to feel? I can't imagine how strong you have to be to have to be able to do that every single day while also grieving and having to stay strong for everyone else around you, your grandchildren who lost their mom, and she did it. And I think that is absolutely amazing. She absolutely does have those superpowers. She is an amazing mother, and April, I guess, was/is lucky to have her as a mom. And I am so sorry to Jamie that she lost April. She looked like she was so beautiful, but she just seemed to have like this warm personality. She always just seems so lovable. And she was finally following her dreams of having her last studio, and her life ended so abruptly. And my heart just goes out to Jamie and the rest of April's family. I am so sorry, but I hope that you guys get the justice that you deserve. I'm just sad that this happened, but I hope that the Agree With Me Center can come to fruition, and you can help other people in April's name. Thank you guys so much for listening to April's story. This was a very cut down version of the case. Like I said, I highly recommend Kendall Ray's channel. Her video that she did recently. I will also have links down below if you just want to go through articles and read about the case yourself. But thank you so much for listening to April's story. I will update you guys as soon as I can. It'll probably be January once we know anything. But thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye, guys.